Every step towards your goals requires sacrifice, suffering, struggle, and tireless exertions of passionate action. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. The steps to becoming great are not giant leaps, but small steps of moving forward each moment. Life is a long road, so we stay focused, we stay hopeful, and we keep moving forward. There's a reason the windshield is so much larger than the rearview mirror. The longer we keep looking back, we don't just miss what's ahead, but the road ahead can become more dangerous than the one behind. The most important thing we can do is respond to everything in life with a resolve to learn and be better than we were the moment before. We believe that progress is greater than perfection, that becoming is greater than being, and that we'll become greater by moving always forward.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast, Always Forward. Good morning, Jameson.
Morning. How's it going, Phil?
I'm doing good. Happy 4th of July.
Absolutely. Independence Day. I'm feeling especially patriotic because oddly enough, and ironically, even though we're talking about 5 factors of health today, I did not sleep very much last night because I was up watching our U.S. men's national team, soccer, play the Gold Cup semifinal. It was in Nashville, and so they had to delay the game like 2 hours because of a lightning storm. And so the game started at like 11:30. So probably not the best example of valuing the factor of sleep. So I'm pretty tired, but feeling especially patriotic. So because
Love it. You've been wearing red, white, and blue today.
Yeah, we're in the final.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I should have wore a patriotic
you should
shirt.
have.
I'm wearing blue shorts, and I have red hair.
That's true. And your skin's white.
And I'm white. So let's go. Perfect.
Okay.
So, we're going to thank Boxstar for being our sponsor. Hit them up, boxstarapparel.com. You use the code FORWARD, and it gives you buy one, get one 50% off.
Yeah. And I think pretty much. So you get 4 items, 2 of them are 50% off.
Love it.
Yeah. I think that's how math works.
So today, we are talking about the 5 factors of health. And we're going to this is going to be a series, like a 6-part series that we're going to kind of go through every week and really deep dive in. So today is really going to be just a 10,000-foot view. What are the 5 factors of health? And kind of me and Jameson is going to kind of go over what's his number one weakness and what's his number one strength. And then I'm going to go over mine as well. So let's kind of go through that. What are the 5 factors of health, Jameson? And kind of just briefly touch on those just real quick.
Cool. First, if you have involvement in CrossFit, in the community, in CrossFit gyms, most likely you have heard these 5 before. Lots of gyms adopt this. Lots of just functional fitness and wellness facilities and organizations adopt these 5. So it's by no means something revolutionary that we personally came up with, but it works, and I think they're all encompassing towards like holistic health, towards treating and bettering the entire individual. And so it kind of expands a little bit more on the episode we did, I guess episode 2, whenever we talked about the daily habits, like how does that look personally to really like improve, sharpen, better yourself every single day in those 3 specific ways. This is more focus on these 5 things to focus on your total and whole wellness. And so 5 factors of health in order of importance. They are listed in that in terms of just your ability to improve health across the board. Eat is at the bottom, so you can look at it like a pyramid or a list or whatever, but eat, sleep is second, train is third, and when we say train, I guess we mean work out for the most part. Exercise, think, and so like mentality, and then connect. So eat, sleep, train, think, connect.
And connect is relationships.
Connect is relationships, community, all of those kind of things. And so those are the 5 that when we focus on each part of those, we can see really, really significant, just even physical health benefits take place. And so we do something here at the gym, and we're still trying to iron it out and learn how to do it a little bit more effectively, but we do like a weekly challenge every week at the gym. And the weekly challenge fits into one of these 5 categories every week. So it may be sleep 8 hours a night this week, or drink 64 ounces of water every day, or it may be encourage somebody in the gym, meet a member you don't know for the Connect challenge, read a book, something like that. So our weekly challenge tries to fall into one of these 5 categories every week. So we're making sure people are really mindful that the point of CrossFit, that the point of fitness is not just
Coming in here, working out.
Yeah, solely physical. So those are the 5 factors.
Perfect.
Eat, sleep, train, think, connect.
Perfect. So now let's kind of let's go through maybe. Let's start here. Yeah, let's start with what is your number one strength? Like, what is something you have to focus on of those 5? What is one thing that you focus on maybe every day that would be like take priority over any other factor?
Yeah. First, I would say the goal of all of this is just like what we talked about last week, are defining and measuring fitness. Same thing as defining and measuring health. Like they're inseparable, health and fitness. And so we talked about like the dictionary definition of what is fitness or health is the absence of disease. Well, we don't really buy into that. We want to take that much, much further than that. And so we want to focus on these things in order to make sure you're actually like totally and holistically healthy. And so that's the reason we focus on these 5 things, which is why it's important to know what you're good at and what you're bad at, where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. And so I think that defining that again, of that sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, these things move you on that continuum. Yeah. And again, like the same way that when we measure physical fitness very specifically, we talked about how there are those 10 skills and abilities that we measure, then that's specific to physical ability, physical fitness. These are like the 5 things that are like across the board. If you're real good at one of them and terrible at 4 of them, you're still not moving the needle towards wellness or towards fitness. And so focusing on all 5. So defining that as like to be healthy, to be sincerely and legitimately healthy as a human being, you got to focus on these 5 things. So for me, what was the question? Is it
what is your
number one that
one that
I'm good at?
You're good at, like that you always do every day. Like it's important to you.
Okay.
If you don't do it, your day is wrecked.
It's a good question. I would say to train would be the thing that I'm most consistent at. But I would also say that I, even in the process so far, have not figured out how to do that as well as I'd like. So I do train for the most part every day, but I maybe don't train well every day.
Okay.
So like the intentionality behind it, the intensity behind it, on one end of the spectrum or the other, maybe it's too intense or not intense enough.
Yeah.
The intentionality I put behind the programming that I do, if I'm sticking to the program that is written. So yeah, I would say training is the thing that I am best at doing, because when I don't do it, I don't feel...
You feel disconnected.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always kind of the term, like if you... there's a chain, there's like that chain, and the chain's connected, and you're like, oh, I feel like it's not all the way connected
right. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we do all 5 of these every day.
Yeah.
But I would say from a very focused perspective in terms of like bettering myself in wellness and health, I would say training is probably the easiest one to get done. Like training is the easiest one to give focus to.
For sure.
For me.
For you.
Yeah.
For other people, it cannot be.
Yeah.
Well, and so kind of I want to tap into that real quick. So like doctors, like if you said, and you went to a doctor and you're like, and he's like, hey, you're not well. I'm going to prescribe you 2 things. I'm going to prescribe you to eat better and to exercise.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he's going to prescribe you. And so a lot of people are like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Doctors have been prescribing exercise for 30 years, but they can't make people do it.
Yeah.
But they definitely do focus on those 2 primary aspects.
For sure.
In terms of just focusing on like that physical betterment and physical wellness. Like doctors know, because they're medical professionals and they understand how the body works, like physiologically and anatomically, like, and metabolically, like it makes sense that what you eat affects that. And your body's response to the stuff you put into it, I mean, is huge. And so that's why there has been such an emergence of the functional medicine, in the functional medicine world, and the functional medicine approach to things is like you can mitigate almost any symptoms with diet and exercise.
Whole foods.
Yeah. And so doctors,
other things,
I think, make great strides to encourage people to do that. But they don't necessarily always focus on, maybe some of them focus on sleep because they understand the actual physical health benefits from that. But I would say that they're not focusing very much on the think mentality or relational connect piece.
So train is yours.
Yeah.
Mine, probably between think and connect. Because I'm a father of 4.
Yeah.
And so I get up really early in the morning and I leave my house at 4:50. No, before that.
That is
4:30.
still dark outside.
It's still dark. I leave my house and I'm not back to my house until 6 p.m., sometimes after. And so that stress piece and then also that connect piece, I would probably say connect more than anything else. Like I try to make it out a way to connect with people at work, connect with people here at the gym, and connect with people at my home. And so if I feel that is if I connect with all those people and I build on those relationships, I feel better.
Yeah.
Like it makes me feel better. And I can tell a difference. Sleep, I'm gonna be real honest, I don't get a ton of sleep.
So you would say that you're the one that you primarily focus on, like in terms of this is what makes Phil fulfilled,
Oh, I like what you did there.
would be connecting.
Connecting, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I love to connect with our members here, in
Yeah.
the mornings. I love coaching the 5:30 a.m. class because those people are dedicated.
Yeah, for sure.
And they talk more than the 5:30 p.m. class.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out to the 5:30 class.
Yeah.
Raising my fist for you.
Maybe the 5:30 p.m. class should take a nap before they come. Like just right.
Hey, the 5:30 p.m. class is a great class too. I've coached
they
it
are,
too.
No, they are a good class, but it's like, hey guys, how's your day? Don't talk to me. I'm here to work hard.
I'm here to work and
I'm
then
not here
go
to-
home.
I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to lift stuff. But I think that's imperative to recognize. So to answer your question very simply, in terms of health and wellness, the thing that I focus on most easily in terms of like I get this done every day is train. The most important one in terms of if you want to see physical developing results is to eat. Like it's at the
Yes.
bottom for a reason. But to your point, I think the most important one from just a total big picture view of health and wellness is connect. If I look at, if your question is which are you strongest in terms of just getting it done every day and consistency, then maybe it's train. But if you ask the opposite, which is what do you feel like?
What's a weakness?
What's a weakness? And not even maybe a weakness, but like if not done well, what hurts the most? Like what hurts your health the absolute most if not done well? And I would say for me, and I think probably for the average person, is going to be connect. When there's stress, tension, anxiety, disengagement in your relationships, like if you're a normal person with with an active few close relationships, like if there's a lack of like honestly peace and like connection and legitimate like solid happiness and joy that exists between you and those other people, I think that affects it the most negatively. Like if you're walking around with tension and with maybe it's just unresolved in just you.
Yeah, it could be the person that's looking you at in the mirror.
Yeah.
That like
Right.
like
And that's causing problems. Like you could have problems with yourself that are causing problems with other people.
Exactly.
That's almost always the case. And we'll talk
Yes.
we'll talk through that when we do our episode specifically on relationships.
sure.
But I think that one it affects the absolute most, because if you eat well, sleep well, train well, and somehow manage to operate with a fairly positive mentality in the midst of having really, really garbage relationships, like what's the point? Like the point is people. The point is relationships. The point is not to live isolated.
don't be a hermit.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. That wasn't even really a question, but
No, I
think
love it.
I think that you're right. So,
I love it though, because like you said, it's if I don't love my environment that I'm in, that stress, well, it affects nutrition.
yes.
It affects all those other. I mean, it really does affect all those other factors. I'm not going to train as well, but if I'm in here training with you, so like all of us coaches did a workout on Saturday. How fun was that Saturday workout?
Yeah, it was horrible, but it was fun.
It was a awesome, horrible workout.
Yeah, it's Thursday, and we did that on Saturday, and I am so sore, even still. So,
But it was the environment that we were in,
right.
And we never get to do that,
right,
And so it's like it was a time for us to connect, doing training,
right.
But then we had so much fun afterwards. We were all laughing, and then we all went swimming
Yeah.
afterwards. Shout out to the Swansons. Thank you again for hosting us.
Also, if you guys hear screaming, it's just because there's a class going on right now. So no one's dying.
Yeah. Grunting and screaming always a 100% chance here at CrossFit.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
But yeah, I think you're totally right. And so I guess we can dig into just a very quick description of each of the 5.
Exactly.
And so, because I think we're about to do that organically with the Connect anyways. So we'll hold off on that and we can hit that whenever we get to it since
Perfect.
it's supposed to be last.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I like putting it first. So,
yeah.
So, eat.
Eat.
So,
Everyone does it.
everybody does it. You have to eat food.
Yeah, you do. Because if you don't,
Some people go a long time without eating.
yeah, I don't.
I can't. I get hangry.
Yeah, I eat a lot. Okay, so when we say eat, again, we're just going to touch on these very, very briefly because we're going to do whole episodes on describing, like, these are the detriments and the benefits of good and bad eating habits or sleeping habits or whatever we're talking about that day. And then here are principles, legitimate, walk away from this podcast with actionable steps. So that's what's coming. So right now we're just going to talk really briefly about all 5. So when we say eat, our strategy for that, again, adopted from people who have been doing this longer than us, is to eat real food, not too much of it. So that's like volume, amount. And so control your intake. Don't be obsessive. So eat real food, so not the processed stuff. Not too much, including plants. And so those 3 things can, I think, summarize. If you could hit that target, like the target of those 3 things every time you ate, I think you'd be shocked at how much difference that made. And so, like, eat real food, meaning all of your meals, the majority of your meals, should not be coming through the window of your car. So that's going to be
analogy.
very, very processed.
Or on the outside of the grocery store. That's
Right.
another way to look at it,
Right.
is if you look at the outside perimeter of the grocery stores.
Yeah, that's where you want to be getting this
That's
stuff.
where you want to be
Right.
getting the food.
Yeah, because the stuff on the inside never goes bad. And so lots of preserved, processed, highly processed foods and stuff like that. So eat real food. Eat the stuff that if you don't eat it in a certain amount of time, it's going to go bad.
Yeah.
And so eat real food, not too much. So that means, like, don't be obsessive, control your volume. Understand that while food is so much more than just fuel, that is at its very basic level a starting point. Like, food with its nutrient density and nutrient intake fuels you. And so, one, if your output is very minimal, what you're putting in is just going to go to waste, essentially. So, like, eat according to your output relative to your intensity. And don't eat too much, like, eat obviously according to your goals. But, like, just, like, don't go back for seconds and thirds all the time. Like, you don't have to feel the post-Thanksgiving, need for a nap after
Put on
every
the Joey
meal.
pants,
Yeah.
like the stretchy pants.
Yeah. So real food, not too much, including plants. That one is necessary because people just don't eat grown stuff. Like, people don't eat the green stuff.
Yeah.
And greens are so important to your digestive system. They help you process and break down everything else. And so even with the other real food, or potentially even the processed foods and stuff that you are still eating, the greens and the plants, they help your body process that stuff. And so that's just an important one of going, like, hey, don't neglect, like, the earth's nutrients. So for us. So those are the 3 things. So understanding that when you eat, you can't out-train a bad diet. How often do we see that?
All the
How
time. Even
many
Matt
times?
Fraser even posted that
really?
last week. The world's fittest man
Yeah.
posted that. He's like, I'm just telling you, you cannot out-train a bad diet.
And
he's tried it.
And you see that even at his level. People are at his level going, bro, eat whatever you want. Look what you can do. It's not the point. Like, if you want to perform, you eat according to the goals of performance that you have. So if performance for you is losing body fat, then you need to eat according to that. You cannot out-train a nutritional habit and a nutritional method in your life. You can't out-train nutrition that increases body fat while exercise that decreases body fat. Like, the exercise doesn't win. Nutrition wins. And so you can't out-train a bad diet, which is why our least favorite thing in the gym is when people are like, well, I do CrossFit so I can eat whatever I want. It's like, don't say that.
People tell me that all the time. Like, Phil, you can eat pizza
Right.
every day. I'm like, no.
I can, but I'm not going to achieve what I want to achieve. So you can't outtrain a bad diet. We've already said eat relative to your intensity. So pay attention to what your body needs based on what you're doing with it. And then, again, at its basic level, understand food is fuel. It's got nutrients. So think about the nutrients that you need to fill the tank and then go. So
Perfect.
yeah.
So let's jump to the next one, sleep. Why is it second?
Yeah.
Before train? Because remember, we kind of talked about doctors eat and train. That's the only two things that they talk about. Why do we put sleep before?
So one of the my brother-in-law, one of my family members, is actually he's a doctor, and not growing up, but like through kind of adolescence and young adult years through college and stuff, I would talk to him about, hey, I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling fatigued, I'm feeling this. As I started to get into athletic performance, I would have those conversations with him, and he has always very intentionally pushed me towards what are you eating and how are you sleeping? And because of his understanding that essentially, like he has said to me, sleep is the best bet you have at accessing your superpower. Sleep is your superpower.
Yeah, it is.
Your body turns into this like recovery machine when you are sleeping. So you have to have good sleeping principles in order for that to be the case. Like you can't sleep in the middle of the day and make up for what you're missing at night.
Nope.
But good sleep habits and good sleep principles are literally like your superpower. And so he said that to me. And so just understanding that like it's second because if you're training like crazy and not sleeping, then you're not going to see the results that you want. And so like if you want to be lean, you need to sleep. Like almost as much, if not more, than you need to be in hitting high intensity training, you need to be sleeping. If you want to lose body fat and you want to be lean, you need to sleep. And so like poor sleep is linked to significant health detriments, like across the board. And so when we speak specifically to what people want out of the gym, lose body fat, build lean muscle, look better, feel better, then we're going to ask you how you're sleeping before we're going to ask you how you're training, most likely. Sleep is connected to weight gain almost as much as any other factor that aids weight gain. And so there was like the same parts of your system and your body are being sleep and metabolism are controlled by the same thing. And so sleep deprivation is one of the absolute strongest enhancers of the risk for obesity. Like it increases your risk for obesity so much. There have been multiple studies about this, obviously done, and most of those studies end up communicating and showing the results, showing that I think I get this right. Children who with short sleep duration, so that's just one, like it's just duration at that point,
Yeah.
not even quality, not any of that. So just with children with short sleep duration are 89% more likely to become obese.
Wow.
Adults with short sleep duration are 55% more likely to become obese. So it's just understanding like the severity that sleep has. And if it's that severe when negative, it's also that like intensely severe when positive.
For sure.
So like it's going to yield the same positive results. And so sleep affects your glucose metabolism. It affects all kinds of things connected to making you pre-diabetic. And so this is a really interesting study. So they took a large group of young, healthy guys, so young, healthy men. And they took them for a week, and they basically enforced sleep deprivation onto them. So for 6 straight days, they limited their sleep. They let them sleep at night, not during the day, and they let them sleep at night, and they limited their sleep to only 4 hours a night. So they took these guys who they had previously tested, young, healthy males. After 6 consecutive nights of 4 hours of sleep only, they were all showing significant symptoms of being pre-diabetic. Then they kept them, and they enforced positive sleeping habits for 7 straight days. So sleeping the right hours, the right amount of time, and all of those symptoms were gone in every single one of them. So that's just like, should communicate all that you need to know. about like poor sleep is connected to so many things. A couple of very specific things, obviously, like we've said, like you are more likely to increase in body fat and not be lean the way you want to be lean if you are not sleeping well. Another thing that sleep is heavily connected to is inflammation.
Yep.
So if you do not sleep well, your body becomes so much more inflamed. And if you know what inflammation is, it's like, when you have a fever and your whole body is achy and it feels terrible, it's inflammation. And so that's what you're living with, essentially increasing and causing with poor sleep habits.
Every day.
And so that's why like there is such an increase of like horrible symptoms with like autoimmune diseases that are connected to inflammation and all of that stuff. And so there's just so many things that sleep is both positively and negatively connected to, whether it's poor or positive in your life specifically. And so again, we'll get into that episode. That'll be like principles for better sleep, when you should sleep, how much you should sleep, what are the conditions for sleep, all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, the argument is you have got to sleep if you want to see results. If what we're targeting right now is health, you want to be healthy, you want to be lean, you want to be fit, to get what you want out of the gym, you've got to sleep. So that's why it's second before train.
Perfect. So hot take here real quick.
Hot take.
Pew, 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 pew. So, okay. Is cereal a soup? Yes or no?
I don't know why it wouldn't be. I don't want it to be.
I don't want it to be.
I don't want to say yes because it seems weird, but I just don't know why it isn't.
Soup is hot. To me, soup is hot.
Yeah, I heard the argument that, but there's cold soup, cucumber soup, right? Isn't that a thing? There's got to be other cold soups too.
I'm sure there is, but I don't like cold soup.
Somebody was like, cereal can't be a soup because soups are broth based. But isn't broth just like something extracted from an animal? Which, what is milk but directly that?
Ooh.
What is milk but cow broth,
Next time I drink milk, I'm going to think cow broth.
I don't know. I don't want
hashtag cow broth right now.
I don't know that. I don't want it to be a soup, but I don't see how it's not.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Listeners,
interested.
let us know. Hashtag cow broth, please. Please, hashtag cow broth. I cannot say that anymore. Moving on. Let us know. So the next one, train.
Train.
And let's just kind of touch on these really quickly.
Yeah.
Because we've kind of already went over training a little bit with what is fitness. Hit on real quick, what is training and how does that affect it?
Training is focusing on all of the elements being, obviously for us, training is constantly varied, high intensity, functional movements.
Yep.
If you don't have those three things, you're not training right, you're not training well. In terms of volume, we want you to train 5 to 6 days a week. We don't want you in the gym 2 days. We don't want you in the gym 3 days. We want you training in some capacity with focusing on relative intensity, functional movements that are varied 5 to 6 days a week. And whenever you do that and you're hitting the other two before it, your results are going to come and they're going to come quickly.
Exactly.
And so our question for people whenever they're frustrated, I'm plateauing, I'm not seeing results, it's how often are you training? Okay, if you're in here 5 days a week, then we're probably missing the mark in terms of stimulus. You're not hitting the intensity that you need to be hitting. You're not doing the right things in the gym. So it's not who trains the most that sees the best results. It's who trains the best. That's what
work smarter,
right.
not harder.
Absolutely. So train. We'll do a whole episode on that as well. But 5 to 6 days a week, relative intensity, functional movements that are constantly varied. So that's pretty straightforward.
Love it.
And understanding that recovery is a part
I was
of
about
training.
to say, you have to have rest days.
Yeah.
You cannot train
Right.
7 days a week.
You can't train 7 days a week. You have to have recovery. And we mean recovery even on your non-rest days. So mobility work, like technique work, body work, all that kind of stuff, making sure that you're recovering well. So
Awesome. So next is think, which is i.e. mindset. This is like stress and kind of
positivity.
Yeah. So let's kind of go into it just for a second.
I think the big statement on the think piece is if you're eating clean, if you're doing the real food, not too much, including plants, and you're eating clean, if you're sleeping 8 hours a night during the right hours under all the right circumstances, and you're coming in 5, 6 days a week, and you're hitting it hard in the gym, and you are a negative, like the most negative person in the entire world while doing all of that, you're not going to get results. Like you're absolutely not going to see the results you want.
may get results, but you'll never see it.
Yeah,
That's another thing.
Right.
You'll never. It's like it's. Have you ever seen the picture of like somebody that's sees themselves as something totally different than what you can see yourself?
You will develop like non-diagnosed dysphoria.
Yeah.
Image dysphoria, life dysphoria. And so like you just can't be negative. Like, and that probably, to be honest, we're going to go back to the original question. That's the hardest one for me. Like, it's just so easy to see the negativity.
Agreed.
And like about me more than about anything. And then if I'm negative enough for long enough about me, then I become negative about everything else. And so, yeah, you don't see results, you don't see progress, you don't see much of anything if you're just being negative all the time. So this think piece, yes, we mean sharpen your mind, like we talked about in one of our early episodes. We mean read stuff, learn stuff, better yourself in that way. But more than we mean like learn every day, we mean what mentality are you approaching things with? Positivity. We want to be positive. We don't want to complain about stuff. We don't want to focus on the negative. We want to look for the wins. And like that just, that's probably more the always forward piece than anything, is stop focusing on the failure. Focus on what you have in this moment and move forward. That's the best you can do. All you can do is the next best thing, right?
Exactly.
And so that's the whole think piece. That's the mindful piece. Think forwards. Think positively about stuff, because I guarantee you, you can eat, sleep, and train well. And if you're doing so like as Eeyore the whole time, you're not going to enjoy it. Like, the 100-acre wood in Winnie the Pooh is like the most enjoyable place to ever be, and everyone but Eeyore is thriving, And so his environment, and this is a stupid example.
No, it's a great example.
His environment and his circumstances are the exact same as everyone else in that story.
Yep.
But he's unhappy because he's choosing to be.
He's choosing
and
to be. It's
we
a
are
choice.
all Eeyore way more often than we're Winnie the Pooh. So we could all stand to be a little bit more of like a fat bear that likes honey.
Oh,
I think.
Love it.
Don't take that practically. So,
But he's happy.
yeah. Then the circumstances are the same. So, yeah.
Love it. So last one we're going to touch on, connect, in which we'll just hit this when we kind of really dove into this one in the beginning. But real quick, connect, relationships, and how that affects everything else.
It just affects everything else.
It's at the end.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I feel like it does come at the end of a lot of people's lives. They're going to focus on because all of these things have to focus on yourself. These first four focus on yourself. They're internalized, where the fifth is external.
Yeah.
It's more than just you. I can't make you like me. I can't make you talk to me. Right? I can't make you do those things. So that's why connected is a hard one.
Right.
Because it takes a lot more work and sometimes doesn't yield as much as some of these other.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it almost feels like it's shooting ourselves in the foot here by saying this because of what we do professionally and what our business's focus is. But man, I think you get to the end of your life, and neither one of us hopefully are near that yet, but I think you get to the end of your life and you don't regret the training days that you missed. But I do think that you regret not even there's really no point in regret when it comes to like regretting bad things that have happened or bad things that you've done.
Because it molds you into who you are.
Yeah. And there's literally nothing you can do about it at this point. And so, I don't think that you regret that. I don't think you regret the training days that you missed. I think that you regret the moments that you missed in those relationships, the relationships that you missed because you weren't present and you were absent. And I think that's what you regret. Like big picture view, people are the point. And so it is the biggest piece. And also like physiologically, stress and anxiety affects every single part of your health and your well-being, that there is absolutely no way that good eating habits are good habits whenever you are in relational distress.
Yes.
You're not going to come in and train well in the gym if every
Your mind
relationship,
is on
I've got let's say 8 very, very close intimate relationships in my life. If most of those 8 have a lot of tension existing, I'm not going to train well, at all. And none of those 8 can be perfect. And that's learning how to be honest in those connected relationships of just learning how to be vulnerable in those relationships and go hey, in our imperfection, we're still committed to each other and we're still going to be very, very close and vulnerable and all that kind of stuff. But if you're intentionally pursuing frustration, anger, all of tension, all that kind of stuff, I'm not going to train well.
No.
Like, I'm not going to train well if those relationships are whatever. So the positivity from the connected, loving relationships in your life, like, it's just everything. And there are statistics about it. There are studies about it. Whatever, man. The whole thing is the happiest people are the people who love people really well. The happiest people are the people who are connected to people.
Yep.
And who aren't isolated. And so, like, we could find those stats, but there's really no point. Like, the point is, it is inarguable. I don't even know if that's a word, but the happiest people are the people who love well and actually receive that love and that care from other people. So it is last, I think, because the first four are very important to be able to do the last one.
You cannot fully do.
Yeah.
If you are stressed, I'm going to make you stressed.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
Right.
part of it. If I'm not eating well, if you're eating well, I'm going to affect my bad habits are going to affect you.
Yeah. Yeah, and to tie it all up with a really, really perfect bow, and to bring it back to why do we eat, sleep, train, and think, or why do we even do the first three, to tie it all together, if the point is people, and the point is long-term effective care, love, effectiveness, all of that kind of stuff in your relationships, if you don't eat, sleep, and train, you're going to die. And so if you want to be able to care about people long term, and you want to be able to enjoy life with people long term, you need to be able to do these first three to function in your life long enough to be able to do that. Like, the point is, let's make you the absolute most optimized version of yourself for other people. You know, it's not just for you. It is for you to offer something better to other people. So that's why we eat, sleep, train, and think, is so you are offering the best version of yourself to the community and the world around you, because for all of us, what we have to do with our time should be too important to waste it, you know? So they are all connected, obviously. And I think the last one is connect, because the first four build into connecting the most effectively.
Love it. Okay.
Cool.
So that is kind of the highlight, 10,000 view. Thank everybody for listening today or watching the YouTube. Please subscribe on iTunes. We are on iTunes podcast.
Yeah, we're on the podcast app. We're on iTunes, and so you can still listen and watch on our website, or you can just download and subscribe. We'd also love for you to review it. That's super helpful as well. Again, thanks to Boxstar, our sponsor, boxstarapparel.com. Code FORWARD for a discount from them.
Perfect. Well, next episode we'll be talking about simplifying nutrition, and we're out.
Cool.